Okay, this is a response to Armake 21's PS3 video. Well, my friend, you already made a lot of good points, but convincing these gamers to not buy the PS3 is not going to help, because here's the problem with most gamers nowadays. Most gamers grew up playing the PlayStation 1 and the PS2. They don't remember the 3DO or the NES or the Sega Genesis. They grew up playing the PS1 and the PS2. So that means they're emotionally stuck to Sony. And which means is that they will buy anything that the Sony puts out. Bill Gates said the best. Bill Gates said that if Sony put out a brick, people will buy it. And they proved that point. They proved that point with the PS3. $500 for the 20 gig, $600 for the 60 gig. But the thing is that this would be alright if they had some actually good games out for it. What do you got for it? You got Resistance, which is not your run-of-the-mill first-person shooter. MotorStorm, which looks kind of impressive from a graphical standpoint, but it's just a standard racing game. Virtua Fighter 5, which is coming out on the Xbox 360 6 months later, around August, September, I believe it's coming out. So why am I going to pay a $600 system just to play Virtua Fighter 5? The Tekken game you can download on your PS3 for $20, which is Dark Resolution. Sonic, which is the same game on the 360. Well, that's basically it. But the thing is that, like I said before, people will continue to support Sony no matter how bad their console is. But really, what really sucks about the PS3 is that none of the games are internet compatible. None of the games you can play online. You can't even play Virtua Fighter 5 online. I don't know if you can play Resistance Fall of Man online, but that's all you can do. I mean, that's really the only game that's worth playing online. And I don't like first-person shooters. I think first-person shooters are cliched and they've been done so many times before. But the worst part about it is that I love Sony. I've been with Sony since the beginning. I've been with Sony ever since I bought my first PS1 back in 1995, along with this game. And Battlefield Toshinden. And I love this console. This console was the shit. And I mostly owned every single Sony console. I even owned the... And the PS2 was a great system when it came out. PS2 was awesome when it came out. It came out with Tekken and all the other stuff. And then 2001, I mean, the PS2 kind of started off a bit slow. But PS2 hit it with 2001 with GTA 3, Metal Gear Solid 2, Tony Hawk 3. PS2 hit some really good highs around 2001. And that was the year that made the PS2 a must-buy. And the PSP, which is okay, but it's not up to the Nintendo DS. I mostly use this for a software emulator. I use this for like a lot of my NES and Genesis and Super Nintendo emulators. I really don't use this as a game console per se. I just like to use it as a portable Genesis and Sega, Super Nintendo on the go. So, but this is what Sony needs to do. What Sony needs to do is that, in able to boost the sales of the PS3, they need to put out demos of the games that they're going to try and make them must-buys. Because right now, MotorStorm and NBA 07 is not enough demos to make you buy a PS3, okay? This is what they need to do. They need to make a demo for the Virtua Fighter 5, make a demo for maybe the Sonic the Hedgehog game, maybe make a demo for Tekken 6, and among other games. But another problem is that a lot of the games that were going to be exclusive for the Sony PS3 is now going to the Xbox 360, such as games as Metal Gear Solid 4, Grand Theft Auto 4, and among others. So why are people going to pay $600 for a PS3 where they can get the same thing on the Xbox 360, which has all the online capability? Because every single Xbox game, mostly every single Xbox multiplayer game, has Xbox Live capability, which will make the system sell. And it's been proven of that. Because right now, Xbox 360 is killing the PS3. They are beating the PS3 bar none. And then the thing is that if Sony doesn't really pick up their game, they are going to lose. They will drop out of the video game market for good. Because right now the PSP, it's selling, it's making money, but it's not doing spectacular. It's not enough to save Sony's butt. But which I don't really want to see happen, because what's going to happen is that if Sony drops out of the console market, it'll be a Microsoft monopoly gaming market. You have Nintendo in the run, but here's the problem with Nintendo. Nintendo has been looked down on ever since the Nintendo 64, okay? Because Nintendo 64 kind of let down a lot of gamers. Nintendo 64 didn't really bring out a lot of licenses that it should have. Because ever since the PlayStation 1 came out, Nintendo's always been the second fiddle of systems. For example, when around 1995, the 32-bit 1995, 1996 came out, the 32-bit era ushered in the Sony PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and the Nintendo 64. This is what always happened. People always bought the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64, or the Sega Saturn and the Nintendo 64. Same thing as in with this last generation that just passed us by. They would buy the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube, or the Xbox and the GameCube. Nintendo's always been the budget system. Always. That's the same case with the Nintendo Wii. People are going to either own the 360 and the Wii, or the PS3 and the Wii. So really, Nintendo's competition for Microsoft, but it's not stiff competition. The PS3 is direct competition with Microsoft. And the thing is that if Microsoft becomes a monopoly in the video game market, you're going to guess what happens to the prices. Whoop! Goes right up, just like in the PC market. That's the reason why you're seeing Microsoft Windows Vista being $250 for a fucking ultimate install and shit. And nobody wants to see that happen, not me. I like Sony. I love Sony. I love my PSP right here. My little portable emulator. And I love this. But PS3 really needs to step up their game. Hopefully, this next holiday season, they get some fire there. They get some fire lit under their ass and put some really great games out with Metal Gear Solid 4 and Tekken 6. That will make the PS3 sell. Well, that's all I really gotta say for the PS3. So, Sony, get your ass moving. Should I sign out?